What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today in this video we're going to talk about 9 mega cap stocks in this video. But before we get started, please hit that thumbs up button. That is greatly appreciated and that really helps out with YouTube algorithm. And if you want to support the channel and get my daily trade ideas, my swing trade ideas, 3 days of live trading in my Discord, definitely check out the Patreon. I'll leave a link down below in the description. And if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. And now let's get right into it, guys. On Microsoft, it's up 0.34%, and just like I said in my last video, Microsoft can move higher, possibly will close the gap at 333, and this is exactly what we got. This thing actually ran all the way up to 335, and then the downtrend did not break on Microsoft, came down, and now again trading at 327, kind of a break even here on the day, only up 0.34%. So Microsoft, you want to see Microsoft going above 338 to 339, that would be bullish, and that would be a breakout from this downtrend on Microsoft. To the upside, we do have a gap on top, 345. So somehow this thing breaks right here. If you look at my screen, 330.84. That's gonna be this downtrend channel right here, and also blue line 5 SMA. Above that, this thing can run back up to 336, and then the resistance right here, 338 to 339, white line 20 SMA, and then the gap above 345. Below 330, we could see Microsoft coming down to 321.40, and then the gap below 316.50. So you got a clear direction here on Microsoft. Above 330, we could see more upside. Below 330, we could see more downside, possibly down to 321. Lower Bollinger Band on this daily chart, and then the gap below 316.50. On Netflix, is up 0.14%. Absolutely flat day on Netflix on Friday, but I did take a trade on Netflix, buying that dip at 427.80, getting some 440 calls, and look at the move, almost going in the money. Sold out for a nice profit, 436.50 high for the day, and then sold off with the market. And again, if you look at my screen, Netflix cannot break this white line 20 SMA, 438.66. Now we do have strong support, and so far that is holding right here, 425.58, red line 50 SMA, and soon as that gives up, we're going to see a flush all the way down to 409.54 to close this gap down here. Now to the upside, Netflix will find resistance right here at 434, and then white line 20 SMA 438.66, and only above that you're going to see a push back up to 450 on Netflix. On AMD stock, it's up 2.36%. So the market went down, everything went down. The mega cap, the biggest stock, Apple went down, and AMD stock went back up to the upside, 2.36% up on the day. And why? Same thing happened last time with AMD on earnings. Dropped $10, and then news came out with Microsoft. This thing was going to moon. It was up, I think, $10-15, and then continued that move all the way up to 132.83, and then we saw that pullback on AMD. And now if you look at my screen, AMD just trading in this range. So I think we're going to see a big breakout to the upside, or we could see a big breakdown to the downside on AMD. AMD breaks above 118, also takes out 121.75. It's gone. We're going to see 130 plus on AMD. To the downside, if you look at my screen now, actually holding 113.66 as a support, white line 20 SMA. So that's going to be key level to watch on Monday. Below that, AMD coming back down to 108 again. To the upside, AMD will find resistance right here, 116, 118, 121.75, and then AMD stock is gone. We're going to see more upside, possibly up to 130s. And here's my X account, and if you're on there, definitely give me a follow. I do post a lot of things, including my videos on there, all my plays. So if you're thinking about joining my Patreon, you can see what I do exactly every day in the market. and especially all my charts and also weekly, daily expected moves on various products, including the market. On Nvidia stock, it's up 0.37%, and Nvidia, at least all these levels are working on Nvidia stock. And if you look at my screen, again, it was holding over 440, and we talked about it in my last video that 440 can hold. We're going to see a retest of this white line 20 SMA, now sitting at 453. Now look at what happened on Friday, opening at right here 449.85, coming down to 443.93, and we did see Nvidia stock going all the way up to 456.42, not quite closing the gap on top at 460. So there is still a chance on Nvidia above 440. We could see a move back up to 453 to 454, and if that breaks, we're going to see a quick trip to close that gap on top 460. Below 440, Nvidia will be breaking this channel, and then we could see a drop down to 427.58 to close this gap all the way down here, and possibly will retest red line 50 SMA sitting at 424. On Amazon stock, with massive earnings beat, up 8.27% over $10, it was up even more, all the way up to almost 144. And then with the market, we saw a bit of a sell-off here on Amazon, and it's down a little bit from the top, but it's holding 138 as a support. And if you look at my screen, getting a little bit frothy, bit overextended. So if there is a pullback down to 138, then needs to hold down here on Amazon. To the upside, the next target all the way up here at 146. Below 138, we do have support down here around 135 to 134, and then watch out for a move down here also 131.30, white line 20 SMA, and then the gap below 129.84, which I don't think Amazon is going to close this gap anytime soon. We could see more upside on Amazon, possibly back up to 146 plus. But Amazon needs to hold 138, if not at least 134 to 135, right down here where we got rejected before. So Amazon definitely on a strong move to the upside, and also you got a strong bullish trend on Amazon, and this can help the market also. And Apple stock moves $5 to the upside, we're going to see a complete reversal in the market, and all those bears, crying about shorting the market and a crash, going to get trapped again. So Amazon, guys, another mega cap, a big stock in this market, looking strong and bullish with some good earnings, and we could see more upside on Amazon definitely after a small tiny pullback. On Google, stock is down 0.18%, so slightly down on the day, but nothing big. It was up on the day all the way up to almost 132. And now if you look at my screen, Google stock, we had this bull flag right here. I took it out. Right now it's not there, but now if you look at my screen, it's right here. So Google stock, watch out down here, guys, around 127. If that holds, and also Google stock can break above 132, we're going to see a quick trip back up to 135 to 140 on Google stock, and that would be a breakout on Google stock from this bull flag. Now below 127, we do have support down here 125, and then the gap below 123.69, and then we also have gaps down here at 121.30, 118.23. On Meta, it's down 0.79%, and look at the move on Meta on Friday, all the way up to 318, almost breaking above the resistance right here, 316, and then with the market, we saw that pullback, and now again it's holding right here, 309 as a support into closing, and looks like if that support gives up going into next week, Meta will close this gap down here around 302. And that's going to be a support level to watch, because we do have strong support at 300 and also the gap right here at 302. To the upside above 309, Meta can move back up to the upside, and in that case, watch out for the resistance at 316. And now that is aligned with this blue line 5 SMA, so that's going to be a strong resistance to break on Meta. And soon as that breaks, we're going to see a push all the way up to 328 and then 338. I still think Meta can come down here, and possibly by end of the year, or even before that, guys, Meta can hit a new all-time high. So far, I mean, this is a healthy pullback on Meta, nothing big. Even if this thing goes down another 20-30 bucks, I think Meta can make it up and still hit a new all-time high, and that would be a healthy correction, a pullback on Meta, and there's nothing wrong with that. So watch out for the support 309 and then the gap below 302. Also, we have support at 300. To the upside, 316 breaks, Meta heading higher, 328, 338. Now, early as tomorrow, if you look at my screen, it's getting extremely oversold. Apple stock somehow gets down to 183 or below that. There is going to be a dip by tomorrow, and I'm going to buy that dip even with bad earnings. Just playing some lotos for tomorrow, day trading. And why? Look at this lower Bollinger Band sitting close to 188, and the stock itself, the market maker, the market mover, the biggest stock on earth, trading below lower Bollinger Band. It's not going to stay that way for too long. We're going to see oversold bounce on Apple, and in that case, Apple can easily move back up to 188 to even 190 before going lower, because we got more gaps down here, 175.77. But in the short term, I can day trade Apple stock tomorrow. If this is how Apple stock opens tomorrow, 185 or below that. On Apple stock is down over $9 on Friday, 4.80%. And just like you guys saw what I said in my last video, I took the trade on Apple stock on Friday right at opening, buying that dip at 193, and then the second 5-minute candle was green, big candle on Apple stock, ran all the way up to 187, sold out for a nice profit, and then Apple stock was holding 185 as a support. It was trying to hold this lower Bollinger Band as a support, but at the end, Apple stock sold off, also took out the support 183, and that was that previous all-time high on Apple stock, and now trading almost at 182. So Apple stock, we could see an immediate bounce next week. But also, guys, when was the last time you saw Apple stock trading below lower Bollinger Band on this daily chart? 185.47. So leave your comments down below. When was the last time you saw Apple stock actually trading below lower Bollinger Band on this daily chart? And that don't happen too often. So I think Apple, yes, can go a bit lower, possibly down to 180, but I think we're going to see Apple stock retracing lower Bollinger Band, and that is at 185. And also on shorter time frame, 15-minute, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, getting extremely oversold. So I think before going down and possibly closing this gap down here at 175, and this is Apple stock. This is not a cheap penny stock. This is not a small company. This is the biggest stock on earth. So Apple stock staying down below lower Bollinger Band, getting extremely oversold. I think immediately going into next week from 180 or from here at 182, we're going to see a bounce on Apple stock. And where this thing can go, watch out for the resistance at 183, and that is that previous all-time high. And above that, Apple will retrace lower Bollinger Band on this daily chart, 185.47, and then possibly will move higher. And look at this move, and that is why I made money on Apple on Friday, 187.38 from 193, and that was within minutes, guys. So Apple stock, definitely we could see that bounce. And Apple here, if you look at my screen, yes, we got all these gaps down here, but look at on top, we got a gap 190.69 and then one up here at 195.28. Now I don't know about this one on top, 195.28, but definitely there is a possibility Apple can come back up to retest this channel right here. And if that happens, Apple can close this gap here on top, 190.69. To the downside, strong support at 180, and if that gives up, watch out for the support and the gap 175 to 176 all the way down here. So on Tesla stock, it's still hanging in there, holding 252.64 is the support, rising red line 50 SMA, and just below that we have lower Bollinger Band on this daily chart sitting at 245.27, and then the gap below 235, and those are some strong levels to watch on Tesla going into Monday. To the upside, And look at this, guys, we almost had that breakout above 262. On Friday, it ran up to almost 265 and then getting rejected by this negatively sloping 13 SMA on this daily chart, sitting close to 264 and then coming down and holding above red line 50 SMA. So we do have support down here, 252.64, and just below that 245 lower Bollinger Band on this daily chart, and then the gap 235. To the upside, 262 and then 264 breaks. We're going to see a quick trip back up to almost 270, and that is where white line 20 SMA and negatively sloping white line 20 SMA sitting right on top at 269.26. So keep an eye on that. Tesla, we could see a big move on Tesla, and if this thing can break above white line 20 SMA, it's back in business for 300 plus. And below this support down here, 252 right here, 252.64, rising red line 50 SMA, we got unfinished business down here. All these gaps, 235 and then the one below 221.91. And that's all I have for you guys in this video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend, everybody.